Well, hello, 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 beautiful teachers. Welcome to another teaching chat. My name is Nicola Canton, and you may know me from colourfulkeys.ie or my games library at vibrantmusicteaching.com. What I want to chat to you about today is a little bit cryptic. We're talking about how students can see where they're going. And what I mean by this is, especially young students, they can't really see into the future. None of us can really, but they can't see what the end result really is. They may have some concept of, I want to get good at playing the piano, but they don't really know what that means. They may not even have that idea in their head. They just have something that's keeping them in lessons. And whatever the reason is that they're there, they need to see where it is that they're going in order for them to continue, and also just, even if they're forced to continue, they need to stay focused and actively working on making progress. And that requires them to see where they're headed with their piano studies. So I have 5 tips for you today that's going to help your students, just with little nudges and pushes, to see where they're headed. Number 1 is to simply point out their progress. So students are very quick to write off what they've done and just move on to the next thing. I mean, we all are. We all do this with everything. We don't notice, we don't take stock of what we've achieved already, and it's usually pretty phenomenal, but we don't bother to notice it. We don't take the time to notice it. So you need to be that for your students. Even if it's something as small as pointing out in the lesson, oh my gosh, look, you couldn't do this last week and now you can. Rather than saying, well done, you can now play it correctly, whatever it is you're working on, point out where they were last week or a month ago, or whatever will make sense for their progress. Just those little touches can help to remind them to notice where they've come from and where they're going, and how much time and energy and effort has gone into what they've achieved, and makes them so much prouder of where they are. So that's tip number 1. Tip number 2 is to take a walk down memory lane. I've shared this idea before and I just love it, especially if you have a little bit of extra time, perhaps even your student forgot their books. That's a great opportunity. Take out one of their old books and have them play something from it. Maybe a favorite piece, maybe something they used to find really, really hard, and now it's going to be easy. So that and pointing out their progress on a more regular basis, those 2 things combined will help them to see what it is that they've achieved so far, which helps them to map out the path in their head as they go. Tip number 3, to keep students focused on where they're headed with their piano studies, is to show them what's coming a little way down the road. What is it that they're going to be able to achieve pretty soon? And a great way to do this is to make sure your students get opportunities to see each other, see more advanced students in concerts or at group lessons. Give them opportunities where they can see someone who's been at it longer, and again, point that out. Be explicit. Say, Susie has been learning for 5 years. Can you imagine what it's going to be like when you've been learning for 5 years? Just those little touches to point out to them where it is that they're going, what they're going to be able to do if they continue with their studies. Okay, so we've had 3 tips so far. I'm going to go on to number 4. This is my 4th tip for getting students to notice where they're going with their piano studies, is to show them the distance. So we've talked about a little ways ahead. Now, get them to see what's in the distance. Make sure your students are getting opportunities to go to concerts, watch videos of great pianists, any opportunity to see really great players in action, perhaps even yourself, maybe you playing at concerts. And even just sending out little emails to parents saying, these are the concerts that are coming up in the concert hall or whatever it is, your local venue, that I think would be a great fit for Johnny. I think he'd love these. So age-appropriate concerts. Our concert hall here in Dublin does a great job of this. I'm sure yours does too. There's somewhere local where you can find kid-friendly concerts or even pieces that your student is going to be playing soon. Sometimes you can find performances of those. And if you can't get them to a live event, get them to at least watch things on YouTube. That should be part of their education so that they're seeing where it is that they're going. And my fifth tip for you, to see where students are headed, for them to see where they're headed rather, is a goal setting exercise. And I've just put up a new one on the blog. This is appropriate for in the middle of the year. So if you go to colourfulkeys.ie/mid-year, all one word, mid-year, you'll be able to grab that right now. And it's specifically designed to be in between your 2 semesters of the year, in the middle, to help refocus them, get them focused on where it is that they're going with their studies, what they want to achieve, what they want to get done this year, and maybe revisit some of the goals you set at the start of the year if you did that. Now, I'm very cognizant of the fact that if you're in the other hemisphere, it is not the middle of the year. You're about to start a new year, but I have one for you too. So I'll leave a link for that, or you can search on Colourful Keys for self-evaluation. There's a great form there for goal setting at the start of a year or the end of a year. So that'll work great for you. Hi, Haley. Great to see you joining in from California. Great to have you here. So I'm going to run through these 5 tips one more time for those of you who are just joining. These are tips to help your student see where they're going with their studies, what's ahead, what's in store for them, and to help motivate them to keep going ultimately. So first one is to point out their progress. Give those little nudges to say, look where you were before. Remember when it was so hard to do this or that or the other? Now you can do it, and that's because of the work that you put in. Number 2 is to take a little walk down memory lane. Take out an old book or anything they previously worked on, play favorite old pieces, play something that seemed really hard, that was a particular struggle, maybe something you fought them over a little bit, and show them how easy it is for them now. Amazing. Number 3, show them a little way ahead. Show them more advanced students. Give them opportunities to see students who are a little bit further along and what they've managed to achieve. And again, be explicit. Talk about that. Point out that if they stick around in studies, they might be able to play that cool piece or explore this or that or the other. And number 4, show them what's in the distance. Give them opportunities. Try to encourage your students to go see live performances or at least watch them on YouTube so they can see what it means to have studied piano for most of your life and what that affords you, what you're able to do with that. And number 5 is to set some goals. Get them involved in the goal setting process. Do it during lessons. That really is key that they're involved in it. If you set the goals, they really don't mean anything. And sure, they might achieve them, but they weren't invested in them in the first place, so it doesn't create that momentum. So go to colourfulkeys.ie/mid-year, all one word, to grab the freebie that'll help you with those goal setting, and search for the summer version if you're in Australia. Before you go, make sure to hit that subscribe button because I'd love to have you come back next week at the same time. And let me know in the comments if you have a favorite way to keep your students noticing their own progress and help them to see into the future, to see where it is that they're headed. Okay, that's it for now. I'll see you next week. Bye for now.